mentioned earlier that you went and worked for Fritz's territory, world class.
Yeah.
What was Fritz Von Erich like as a promoter?
Fritz was a hands-on promoter. He was good. Fritz, well, world class championship wrestling was hot. It was hot like Southwest Championship Wrestling was hot. He had his boys, and he had it was a Von Erich show, and then you had Adams, and then you had Hernandez was coming in there, and then you had me in there. You had some other heels, like the Missing Link would, and Skandar Egbar would be the feeders for those guys. But you asked me as a promoter, but not as a human being. So
how is he as a human being?
He's a piece of shit.
Why is that?
Well, how many sons killed themselves? Not only was he a piece of shit as a human being, but as a father. And he treated wrestlers like second-class citizens. And when you look at Kevin's the one that should have been dead out of all of them. He did more drugs than any of them. And David, I was close with David. I knew Kevin and David more. I didn't know. I knew Kerry a little bit, not much. And when you look at the other two, but when you go down the line and you go, how many kids that committed suicide of one family? There's got to be a problem somewhere, guys. It's got to come from the top. It's not coming from the bottom. When you have that many kids, that's like Kerry lost his leg because his old man forced him back into wrestling too quick, and his leg didn't heal, so they had to amputate it. And it's just a sad story. It's very sad for and I know Ms. Atkinson is still living today, and she's a very sweet lady and was a very loving mother. But Fritz, to me, as a human being, I got nothing for him.
Did you ever witness any of the crazy Von Erich stories with Curry, Dave, and Kevin?
Yeah. We were in a tag match one night. It was Brody and me. I think we were in the Freeman Coliseum in San Antonio, and we went in the locker room, and Kerry couldn't even sit in the chair. He was so screwed up. And it was just drugs everywhere, and in that territory at that time. And what's bad about it is that when you're that non-functional that you can't get in the ring and perform, when you've sold tickets to people to see you perform, it's kind of like I guess you would say what you guys saw with TNA not too long ago.
Right, with Jeff Hardy, you're saying.
Yeah.
Right. Do you think the Von Erichs killed their own territory by their antics? By no showing towns and...
I think their old man killed the territory. I think that if he would have had more, he pushed those kids so much that I really think that was the end of it. I think that he pushed them so much that drugs became their outlet. They couldn't take the pressure, and hey, instead of getting them out there and having them take a break and bring some other guys in, no, it's got to be Von Erich, until you want to throw up. And hey, they were like rock stars for a long time, and then all of a sudden, when the dust comes off, you can only cover up so many things so many times, and I looked at it from a different way because I'm in the inside looking out. I just really felt bad for the guys. I mean, I felt bad for Kerry and Kevin and the two younger guys. They were never going to make it in the business if they hadn't been a Von Erich. I mean, they were just too little. And what happened was he destroyed his family within. And he got his comeuppance in the end. They all do.
Memories of Doug Summers?
I don't have a lot of memories of Doug Summers. That only thing I can remember about Doug Summers is he was a good hand. He was a good hand in the ring. He was married to Mike McGurk. And that was one of my last territories I worked. Me and Jimmy Snuka lived together. we were out in Tulsa for George Scott.
Right.
And it was me and the Snook. Paul Jones was out there. Rip and Swede Hansen. Rip Hawk and Swede Hansen. But so we used to travel together. It was Swede and Rip and Jimmy and me. So we used to have a blast. And we were hoping that everything worked out with George and Leroy to get that territory. But on my last day, as we were leaving town, we went by to say goodbye to Leroy, and sure as shit, who walked in? Bill Watts. Bill Watts was there to lick up the chops and to try to take over what was left. And I got nothing against Bill Watts, but, you know, it is what it is.
Memories of Johnny Valentine, and do you have any good rip stories?
Oh, well, Johnny Valentine, we did a, let me tell you about Johnny, and Greg, I think the world of. Johnny, we did a benefit show out of Southwest up in Lufkin. He was in Lufkin, and that was when he was on his crutches, and I was supposed to get a payoff, me and somebody else, and me and Johnny was sitting at the bar and talking, and I really enjoyed that, and I wouldn't take his money. I wanted him to have the money.
Right.
You know that $300 or $400 didn't mean that much to me. I was a single guy, and I wanted Johnny to be able to have that money. And you know, and I've never told this story to people because it was really none of their stinking ass business. But you know, Johnny Valentine meant a lot to this business, and he meant a lot to me, and he was much of a man. And I gave him my money back that night, and I can't remember who was with me, did too. And, you know, we sat there and drank, and he was telling me about the time he got shot with a harpoon. And I mean, Johnny was a wild guy. Johnny was epitome of, and he was a brilliant booker. He was one of the guys that he knew how to draw money, and he could draw money just because he knew how to do it, and he could write it down, and he was just brilliant. Well, that's how come Greg had such a good career, because, you know, the apple don't fall far from the tree. And you look at Johnny, I was glad that we could do that for him and help him out. And, you know, you look at wrestlers, and when you see these fan fests and all this stuff, you look at some of the guys that are not as fortunate as some of the others, and you feel real bad for them. And, but then again, when you stop and think, you know, a lot of these guys had a hell of a shot and they made a lot of money. And some of them didn't. But when I see some of them, it's you know, it's not what it used to be. And you got to understand that. It's not what it used to be. And it never will be what it used to be.
Bobby Jaggers, the Hangman.
Oh, the lying son of a bitch that ever walked the face of the earth. Jody Hamilton. We were riding in the car one time, and Jody Hamilton looks over at him, and he says, "You know something, Jaggers? You couldn't tell the truth if you were talking to your mother. All you do, Jaggers is the biggest liar in the world. So if you've ever done a shoot interview with him, every friggin' one of those damn stories, anything he says is a lie that comes out of his mouth. And I swear to God, anybody in the business will tell you a lie. Ask J.J. Dillon, he'll tell you it's a lie. And it's, you know, hey, he's just a liar. He's one of those guys that can really stretch the truth. And he's got good lies, though. He'll keep you entertained."
Watch thousands of exclusive shoot interviews right now on TitleMatchNetwork.com.